As the smart home industry has evolved over the last couple of years, more and more people are starting to talk about local home control. In this video, I'm going to try to explain to you why that's important. Let's check it out. Hey guys, Chris Young here from HomeKit Geek. The channel will bring you new smart home content every week, focusing on whatever I find that interesting. If you would like to subscribe, do me a favor, ring that bell below, and you'll be notified when new videos are added. In this video, I'm going to blend two of my passions together, which is networking and smart home. Now, I don't commonly talk about this, but I've actually been in networking for going on 25, 30 years, depending on how you count. So I am going to try to explain to you guys why smart home local control is such a big deal and how that does actually affect your user experience in terms that hopefully everyone can understand. So I would love to have some feedback on this video if you want more of these deep dives. Definitely, if I've missed anything, put comments in the comment section and I'll be happy to try to get those things answered to you as quickly as possible. Let's get into the details. Hey guys, in this video we're going to blend my two worlds of networking and smart home and try to explain why local control is such an important thing. So if I get too complicated, if there's anything I miss, sorry, I've been doing this for 25, 30 years. I'm doing my best to make this as simple as possible. So if it doesn't make sense, please do me a favor, post questions in the comments. I'd be happy to answer those. So before we get started and talking about local control, let's talk about how the internet works to some degree and get some basic concepts down. So what I have here on the board, I have a house here, which is going to be your house, your local network. This is your local Wi-Fi. I have in the middle the internet, and this, the internet, what it actually is just a bunch of networks all over the world, all connected together. And over on the right, I have the cloud. The cloud isn't really the cloud, it's a bunch of different clouds. Essentially, it's just a marketing term that really means this stuff is running somewhere else in somebody else's environment, somebody else's data center, and it's not anything I really need to worry about. It's just a service that runs somewhere else. So before we talk about local control, I want to talk about how a lot of the smart home systems work today, which is cloud-based control. So if we look at that, there's two major versions, and that Amazon, Google. So I would also include Siri shortcuts in this just to be complete. And let's talk about how those work a little bit today. So if you were to have a person in your home network doing control, throw a tablet over there, and they want to control a light bulb from their iPad. Let's not even bring voice into it yet. The way that's going to work, the traffic path is going to be that they're going to click the button on their iPad. It's going to go out through your home network over across to the internet, and let's say that's an Amazon connection. It's going to go to Amazon's cloud and say, hey, I would like to have this particular light bulb turned on, off, change the brightness, whatever that happens to be. Amazon's cloud has these things called skills. And one of those skills, this could be any of your Amazon connected devices, right? This could be Yeelight, this could be your Philips Hue, any of those kinds of things. So all those manufacturers have their own cloud. So this could be Hue, we'll call this Yeelight just to stay consistent, right? So you got Hue, Yeelight, and essentially what happens is Amazon says, hey, that's a Hue bulb. So Amazon then does a connection out to the Hue cloud. And then the Hue cloud does a connection back to your house, to your local Hue bridge, for instance, and your Hue bridge then turns your light bulb on. So looking at this path, you're going from your house off to Amazon's cloud or to Google's cloud, their cloud to the Hue cloud or to the Yeelight cloud, right? You then go back to the house, and again, this communication is going to go and update. There's all this, but as you can see, all of this is going to go across the internet. So if you really think about what's happening here, the fact that it's taking 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds is still kind of amazing, right? So I want you guys to think about that. Like, that's amazing that we're able to do this, and it's an amazing time that we all live in. So 4 or 5 seconds is really fast, but when you're living in a smart home, this time may seem like an eternity. For instance, if you're walking down a hallway and you're triggering this via a motion sensor, by the time that 4 or 5 seconds is over, you might even be through the hallway already. So why are you turning the light on when you've already left? This is where local home control comes into effect. So let's look at this from an Apple HomeKit standpoint. Ultimately, it's the same for all the local control. But we're going to use the Apple HomeKit as a really easy way to understand this. If we look at the Apple HomeKit case, And all local control is a variant of this. The behavior is very different. The iPad is going to connect to your Apple TV, which is your home hub, for instance. We'll keep this simple, you only have one, over Wi-Fi. The communication will hit your Apple TV, and your Apple TV will say, I know where that is. Go out to the light bulb and turn it on. This entire communication path, nothing leaves the network. Absolutely nothing leaves the network, which is kind of an amazing thing. So all of your data is kept local. It is obviously faster in this internal network here because you're not having to go that distance. If you imagine this from a physical distance standpoint, we could be talking about tens, hundreds, even thousands of kilometers to get across the internet in these places. And that's why that 4 or 5 seconds can happen. You will see this be a lot faster. That is how we're able to do things locally on the local network and have such a faster experience, which is really what we all want. What about bridged devices? So bridge devices are an interesting category in that a lot of the same principles apply as far as local control goes. So you have the same path here, meaning the iPad will have a command. We're going to go down through the Wi-Fi network. It's going to talk to whoever your home hub is in control right now. And in that case, the home hub is going to say, hey, I know where those light bulbs are. Those are connected to me via this Philips Hue bridge, for instance. At that point, that communication for turn the light bulb on, that packet is going to go to the Philips Hue bridge, which is then going to get translated into the Zigbee protocol. So Zigbee protocol is very similar to Thread, with the difference of the application layer is very different. And that is going to make a difference in the future. Without getting too much in this video of differences between protocol stacks, essentially what happens is think of these as 2 different languages. You have English here, you perhaps have French here. So as this comes down, the Hue bridge is going to translate that message into whatever French term says, turn the light bulb on. The light bulb turns on, reports back to the Hue bridge, yes, it's been turned on, reports back up, and everybody is happy. So let's talk about another scenario of where local control can be really fast. And this is something everybody's been talking about lately, the Thread example. So unlike this example right here, where this bulb may be connected over Wi-Fi, Thread is a different communication protocol between the device and in Apple HomeKit land, your HomePod Mini. So this is the only Thread border router right now. And what a Thread border router, what this means is it's got the ability to talk on one side, Wi-Fi or Ethernet. In the case of the HomePod Mini, that's going to be Wi-Fi. It only connects via Wi-Fi. And on the other side, it's going to talk Thread to the light bulbs. Right now, the Nanoleaf, there are some of the Eve Home, and we expect to see more of this happening in the future. So let's look at the flow now. The iPad will then connect to Wi-Fi. That will send a message to potentially your Apple TV. We'll keep that as the home hub. The home hub will say, hey, I know about these light bulbs. I also know that they're connected via Thread. So let me send that to my active Thread border router, which is the HomePod Mini. At that point, the control message to say light bulb on comes down through the network, gets over to the HomePod Mini, and then gets sent out through the HomePod Mini on its Thread interface. So still, this can be very, very fast. No issues here. So let's look at some of the combinations here and why speed differences happen in home automation. So first example, the Philips Hue. If you were to have Philips Hue automations only on the Hue bridge itself, for instance, you're going to have this Hue motion sensor turn on this Hue light bulb. In that case, the motion sensor speaks Zigbee to the bridge. The light bulb as well speaks Zigbee to the bridge. There's no translation happening here. It's right in and out. There we go. The automation happens. It is super quick. And that's why being in a single ecosystem can have a great user experience. On the other hand, if we were to put that automation, which you can do perhaps in Amazon, for instance, right? Then we get back into a combination of local and cloud controlled, and you're going to start to see some of that latency, some of that delay happen here. So in this case, the motion event would get reported to the Hue bridge, which is connected up into the Hue cloud. So there's this communication path that comes over here. The Hue cloud reports that event to Amazon. Amazon's got an automation, a rule, a scene, a routine, if you will, that says when this motion happens, turn on the Hue light. Amazon will turn around and send a message back to the Hue cloud, which will send a message back to the Hue bridge, which will say, hey, turn on the light. So you can see this round trip time, this delay, this hairpinning can start to cause a lot of delay. So where you create your automations, how you create your automations, this can have a really big effect on the latency, the delay, the user experience that you're going to see in your house. This is why local control is important. For those of you who made it all the way to the end of this video, I really appreciate you sticking around. I appreciate your support. Any questions, comments, put them in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer those. Likes, shares, always appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already, and right about now, YouTube should be putting here or here a video that they think you might be interested in watching next. See you guys soon.